Brad Johnson here from johnson.audio, and I'm here to talk to you today about the differences of a home recording studio setup and a professional recording studio setup, and which is a better option for you as a modern day singer-songwriter to get your songs recorded and released and stuff that you are actually proud of. Now, there's going to be two sides of the coin here with the home recording studio enthusiast and the professional recording studio enthusiast, and a lot of information out there on the internet, and I'm going to tell you right now that a lot of it is true. What people say about both sides of it are going to be accurate, and so it doesn't really help narrow down which is going to be a better option for you as a singer-songwriter who wants to release their own music. And so I'm going to try to help clear up some of it. I've been on both sides of it. I have done recording in professional setups. I've done recording in home studio setups. I've worked in my own home studio, and I've worked in a professional home studio. So I feel like I'm a little bit prepared to help maybe guide you in this particular area. So on the one side with the home recording studio enthusiast, they're going to talk about the fact that it's easier than ever to get into recording your own music in this day and age because of technology. And that's totally true. I mean, everything you can seriously, if you have a laptop, you can get a DAW, get a little, $100 interface, $100 microphone, and for less than $300, $400, you could be recording your own music. And that is awesome. I love the idea of being able to take total creative control over your own destiny, over your own music, and being able to really, learning that craft will save you a lot of money down the road. And then you have the professional studio enthusiast, who are going to say that it's still a craft. You still need to spend time to learn it, how to do it well, how to do it right, and to hire somebody to use their professional rooms, to hire them for their equipment, and to have the personnel to help you get the recording done is a better use of your time and a better use of your money, because it is a craft. You do need to practice it. So there is that side of it as well. And and so they're both right. I think that if you have no idea what you're doing when it comes to audio recording, you're writing your songs, it might be better for you to stick to your craft of songwriting and find an outside person to hire to make your songs sound great. Now, do you go to somebody who has a home recording studio setup, or do you go to somebody that has a professional recording studio setup? This is what you have to really start to look at if you are this person looking to hire out. A home recording studio setup might be using the same exact stuff as a professional recording studio. So if you're going to be looking at a place to record, don't fall into the hype of big boards, of all this outboard rack gear stuff, all the bright lights. Don't be fooled by it. When you go into that setup, if you are just doing vocals or you're just playing guitar, guess what? They're probably using one microphone, going into one preamp, that's using one converter, going into the computer, and they're doing everything in their computer. I'm not saying that everybody does this, but majority of it's what a lot of the recording will look like. I mean, they might be using a really nice microphone in a nice room with a nice preamp, but the thing is that most people, if you do your recordings right, whether it be home studio or professional studio, aren't going to know the difference. It's really, I feel like a lot of times it's the user that you're paying for. So if you have somebody that knows their gear, knows how to get good recordings, and can get you there, and they can do that in a home studio and do it for half the budget, then that's the person you should go with. You could be going into a professional recording studio where there might be a producer that works out of it that is of high caliber, but because you're going in and renting out for an hourly rate, he's going to give you someone who may not be at his caliber and may actually be somebody that doesn't really know much of what they're doing at all, because if you're an hourly client and this producer's used to doing is keeping their studio open with their $5,000 song productions or more, they're not really going to put a huge priority on you or your time. So just think of that. You're going to want to find the person. It's not so much of the studio anymore, it's finding the person, because we do have the tools these days to be able to record on a laptop and do it off location and get really awesome sounding recordings. So you're going to have to think, if you are the singer-songwriter and you're trying to decide between hiring out somebody, look at the person, don't look at the studio. That is going to be definitely what you want to do. Now, if you're somebody who really loves tinkering and learning new skills, and it's just something that becomes inherently and it becomes something that it's part of your DNA to learn, I would highly recommend going the home studio route, even though it's going to be a long journey. Trust me, I've been doing this for, my first studio experience was when I was like 15, and I'm still learning. I'm still considering myself, just on the track to getting better. And I feel like only in the past few years have I really started to get a grasp of what it means to actually record and mix and master. And it is a very, very long journey, and it'll take you away from your songwriting craft. Trust me, because it's not as simple as just learning what a little simple EQ does and a compressor does. There's so much art form behind it. There's so much knowledge and so much stuff you need to it's just like anything else. It's learning how to train your ears differently, and just being able to hear music in a different way, and being able to just know how, microphones work, and just what it is you're actually looking for in sound. And it is rewarding, but oh my goodness, let me tell you, it is exhausting sometimes, because you will get so wrapped up in the technical that you almost forget why it is you're doing it in the first place. And that's because you love music, you love writing songs, and you wanted to release songs to people that you're proud of. And so that is something to think about before you go down that rabbit hole. And I talk about in a different video the essentials of recording. And before you start investing in any gear, know if this is something that you're actually going to stick with, because the last thing you want to do is waste your time, waste your money, and just take yourself away from your songwriting craft. So keep that in mind. It might be better for you to just find something that you can partner with and write music with together. So, and maybe they're the person that does the recording and engineering. And so that's where team comes in, or maybe finding and pooling resources. If you're a good songwriter, you find somebody who is a good engineer or has all the tools and knows how to use it, but just doesn't have that creative craft like you do. So, if you need to understand more about just the pieces of recording, I highly recommend you going to my website and downloading for free the Music Leader's Handbook. It'll explain all the different pieces of recording and kind of the characters that fall into it. And so it's not just one size fits all. There's definitely different pieces of the process, and there's different personalities that fit into that process. And knowing where you fit into that puzzle will help you tremendously to just double down on that craft and get better at it. So in this video, I've kind of gone all over the place. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry to maybe not go such a linear route with the idea of the differences between the home recording studio setup and the professional recording studio setup, but I really wanted to give you just perspective into the whole matter of it. One last thing I do want to add is, if you are somebody who has been doing home recording on your own and you feel like you've kind of hitting a wall, I highly recommend trying to find somebody who might have their own studio, whether it be a really high-end home recording studio or a professional recording studio, and try to intern for them. Do whatever you can to get your foot in the door and just learn and be in that environment. It's the best thing I ever did for myself when it comes to the recording craft, because when you just immerse yourself in it and just stand on the shoulders of people who've gone before you and who are at a further along, I mean, your skill level just goes whoop, and it's pretty incredible. So if you're in that position where you've been doing this for a while, you just feel like, man, it's still just not quite getting there, that might be your next step. And so I highly recommend looking into something like that. It might be hard to try to, sometimes it's like, well, how do I network into that, or how do I get that? And really it is, you really do have to be persistent, and you just have to, find out what it is that their needs are, and even see if they take internships. If they do internships, they might, do them every 6 months, and you just got to wait for that opening. So that's something that I would highly recommend. I did that, and it was really, really helpful for me. So yeah, so the differences, really, to recap, is if you have no desire to record your own stuff and you just want to focus on your songwriting craft, which is something that I would probably recommend for a lot of you, find somebody, not a studio, find a person that you can trust, that you know has your best interest in mind and wants to help you record your song and do it in the way that you see in your head and will work with you. Obviously, a professional is going to cost money, but I find a lot of times these days it's an oversaturated market. You're going to find great talent that will work with you in your budget. And then don't get bogged down in the bright lights and big consoles of a professional recording studio, because most likely they're not using any of it, and they're going to give you somebody, if you're renting out hourly, that doesn't really know how to use that stuff anyway. So let's think about that. And if you are going to go down the route of doing your own recordings and jumping onto the modern day revolution that is the home recording studio, just know it's going to take work. It's going to take practice. Don't get caught up in all the hype that it's just like, as easy as plugging in and hitting play. There is still technique behind it. It is a worthwhile investment if it is something that you're going to stick with, but just know that it takes time. So with that being said, I hope you got something on this video. Leave me a comment. Please hit the like button, share it. Help me get the word out on this. I really appreciate you taking time to spend out of your day to just listen to what I have to say about something I'm very passionate about. I love music. I love recording music. I love writing music, and I just want to see what you guys are creating, hear what you guys are creating. So, leave me a comment again. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video.